So I put a poll on my YouTube community and my Instagram account, and overwhelmingly, you guys wanted me to do this video. How to stop overeating. And I have one simple trick that I'm going to teach you today that you can implement today that will help you stop overeating if you are in fact tired with overeating and you want to make some changes. So welcome to today's video. My name is Diane Parham. I'm the creator of the online course, The Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman, as well as our Midlife Mindset Shift course. I am a coach for midlife women who coaches from the mindset approach to having a life where we look and feel our best and do that in our most authentic way. So that's how we're going to address today's topic on overeating. We're going to do it from the mindset approach. This is not going to be a how to lose weight video. This is not going to be a how to balance your hunger hormones video. It is going to be based on how we show up for ourselves and why it is we end up in these overeating situations. If we're admitting or recognizing that overeating is the problem, then we really do have to spend a little time asking ourselves why that is. Why is it that we say we want one thing, but we're doing this activity in the situation it's overeating? We know we're doing the thing, but we can't stop it. And that one thing that we can't stop is keeping us from the thing that we say that we really want. I believe that the reason overeating is such a big problem is because we don't know how to pause. So that is the one thing that's really simple and available to everyone to implement today that you can start practicing to catch yourself in this act of overeating before it even happens. So where do we implement this pause, and why is the pause so powerful? Well, one of the beautiful things about the course I teach on intermittent fasting is that we are purposely picking a window of our day to pause from food. Pause from putting anything in our body that's going to create a hormonal or chemical response, and we're going to create an opportunity for our body to reset its hunger hormone. So we're consciously pausing from food. Very powerful decision that we're making. And the big aha moment that so many women have when they're in class or when they're practicing intermittent fasting is how unconsciously they are willing to put food in their mouth, like without even thinking, any time of the day. And when you make a conscious decision to take a pause from food, and you're making a conscious decision to fast, and you're going to make a conscious decision to fast clean, we bring our brain back into this scenario because now we're conscious about every action that we're going to take. And we can catch ourselves before we participate in this food decision we're about to engage in, or the food experience we're about to engage in, because oftentimes it's not even a conscious decision. It's just habitual. If you're not doing something like intermittent fasting, or you're not consciously participating in something where food is going to be put on a pause, then our natural reaction habitually, or our natural response when we're in this unconscious state, is to just put food in our mouth. We don't even think about it. The end result of that happening every day, all day, without thinking about it, is usually a weight problem or a health problem or an energy problem that we now can say is the result of overeating. So it's just the lack of a pause. When we're taking a break from food, we naturally default to a pause or a stop in action, right, from doing something like eating, because we have a very, very purposeful way that we're showing up in our day. This is where I like to really push back on the science aspect of why we should be intermittent fasting and lean more into the behavioral reasons why we should be practicing intermittent fasting. We just don't need food in our life every single hour of every single day. There's a purpose for food and there's a place for food. But if we as a society, and we have as a society, been conditioned to lean on food to solve problems, solve stress, solve heartache, be our entertainment, be our reward, be our punishment, then that's where we have been conditioned to default to. So it's no wonder we're overeating. We're eating for the wrong reasons. We're eating in unconscious decision-making processes. We're eating to avoid things we don't want to feel. When we shift our mindset into using something like intermittent fasting as a power play, I like to say, when in doubt, fast it out, take a pause. Take a pause and ask yourself, man, I'm feeling a certain sort of way right now, or I have these thoughts in my brain right now about something. Is food the solution for this thing that's going on with me? Or can I solve it with a different set of tools? So a lot of the advice I give to women who come to me and say, I'm an emotional eater and I have a very stressful life, so I don't think I can intermittent fast because I need to eat all the time. Again, classic case of being an overeater is, why aren't you identifying as something else? Take a pause from that thought for just a second. Why are you using food in stressful situations or emotional situations? What is it about you that can't manage those things with the absence of food? And what if you can just say, when I'm stressed out, I just pause. Why do we have to do something to solve a problem? Why can't we just do nothing? It's a really powerful exercise to put into play to prove to your brain that you are very capable of managing your life in a pause, in the absence of doing something. It has provided so many women with food freedom when they really believed that they didn't have the ability or opportunity to show up for themselves just as they were. That they needed something to fix their problems and really didn't have the confidence that they could do it on their own. So I like to incorporate this pause in a 4-step process. It does start with the pause, but then I ask you to consider taking a deep breath. So you feel something in your body, which is just a sensation. Usually it's like a nervousness or a stress kind of feeling, tension maybe. And that feeling, if you don't pause, is that response that we have to go do something, or that initiation to go do something because we don't like that feeling. We want to change that feeling no matter what. So we go do something. Because food is so readily available, and because food is our habit, and because food is so addicting, we tend to turn to food as the thing that changes the feeling. The end result of that is that we don't feel things, we're just numbing them away and oftentimes just pushing them down with the next food experience. And then for a lot of people, it is really true or an honest thing to believe you can't manage your problems because you don't have any evidence that you can. And so taking this pause or doing nothing will also provide some proof or evidence to you that you are really capable of managing your life. This is where we talk about the energized sense of calm here. When you can do absolutely nothing, so you're going to pause from doing something and you're just going to sit in whatever situation is going on in your life, and you're just going to feel it out. You're going to let that energy that you have from being in that controlled situation and making a very conscious choice to put food on pause for a little while, and you're going to let that energy be the thing that's going to fuel you. It's a positive energy, and when you lead from a positive energy, we tend to make better decisions. So the 4-step process is you start with the pause. You don't do anything. You allow yourself the opportunity to take a nice deep breath. You exhale that out and just sit for a second. Do nothing. We insert another pause. What will happen with that breath and that second pause is your brain will actually start to kick back in to think mode. You're going to get a whole new set of thoughts that you get to decide on what you're going to do next. When you're in this cleansing breath and this second pause, the opportunity to create a more positive thought flow, which will lead to positive actions, is so much greater. Now, if you say, well, Diane, I tend to just be a negative thought person and I always end up going and doing something that I regret, then what I want you to do in that pause is just keep thinking thoughts until your brain comes up with one that you like, that you think is appropriate. For a lot of negative Nellies, myself included, it might take 3 or 4 thought sentences to go through your brain before you're like, yeah, okay, I think this one is going to be the one that's going to lead me to the action that I want to take. And that action should be different than what you tend to do when you're identifying as someone that's overeating. So if you're a stress eater, then I want you to think about things that you can do in that situation that aren't going to lead to eating, because we don't want to be an overeater and we don't want to be a stress eater that leads us to then identifying as someone who's overeating, right? And I know that sounds really wordy, but we have to really think about these scenarios in this way in our own brain for it to make sense. So if I'm feeling stressed, I choose to walk or read or call a friend or clean a drawer. Like, there's so many things that I can do in a stressful situation that don't lead to me eating and then having that regret. When you get to the point where you can defer or deflect your activities to positive things and you start to provide evidence for yourself that you don't do yourself harm in those situations, what you'll find as being a very possible next step for you is to just do nothing. Like, you don't even have to go do something else. You can just manage your own thoughts in the pause. Now, there is enough science out there to prove that intermittent fasting or clean eating or healthier lifestyles are the way that we should be living our life if we do in fact want to look and feel our best. But we want to make sure that we are being really honest about, especially with something like practicing an intermittent fasting lifestyle or wanting to create some discipline around food, is we never seek out scientific data when we are in a crisis. I have never had a woman come to me and say, Diane, my life is really stressful right now, and man, this scientific data that I have found has just totally helped me out. It's usually, my life is really stressful right now, and so I've stopped intermittent fasting and I've gone off and done all these things that now I have realized have been harmful to me. So I would like to ask you to also pause from the research aspect of what it is you're doing to find solutions to your overeating scenario. How much proof scientifically do you need about a problem that you're already able to identify on your own? If you are overeating, the best thing to do is just stop the activity of overeating. The best way to do that, pause when you're in a feeling or a situation that you know you habitually overeat in. Now, if the thoughts in your brain are, well, that seems really easy for you to say, for whatever reasons you have that thought going on in your brain. It's not easy for me. I practice this every single day in my life. I am constantly putting myself in a pause. I'm constantly taking a deep breath. I'm constantly thinking, reevaluating before I make decisions, because that is what leads to the result of me having all the things that I say that I want for myself. It does become easier the more you practice this, but it's never easy for anyone when they first start out, especially if overeating is the thing that you are saying is the problem that you're having and you don't know how to solve it. It's a difficult thing to do, but it's possible if you have gotten to this place in your life where you are done. Enough is enough with overeating. I need to create a new lifestyle for myself. So your reason for wanting to stop overeating has to be compelling enough for you to get through what is difficult, uncomfortable, and a new behavior pattern for you. If you're not at that place yet, then this will probably be a short-lived experience for you. And the first time a problem arises for you that you feel like you can't control, by just sitting in it and taking a pause, you will go off, you will go overeat, and you will blame it on the fact that this pause or this advice is too difficult. If you are done overeating, you have to be dedicated to doing something else. And the easiest thing that you can do if food is a problem for you is take a pause from it. Again, this is why intermittent fasting has been one of the easiest solutions for so many women, especially women who are identifying food as the problem, hence overeating. So, pause, take a breath, pause again, let that breath cleanse the thoughts in your brain, allow new thoughts to enter your brain, and pick the one that you think is going to serve you best for the problem at hand. Start asking yourself a series of questions about what it is you should do next. This is a very powerful exercise to do. Most people won't be willing to do it, but I have faith in you. You are a person who has decided overeating is not going to be something that is going to continue to keep you from living the life that you want. Is going to be the thing that's going to continue keeping you from looking and feeling your best. You're not going to let overeating be the thing that's going to keep you from living your most authentic life, and you are willing to take the pause no matter how uncomfortable or new that might be for you, because you are ready to make some change. If you're interested in jumping into our intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course, we have one starting every month. Make sure you click on the link in the description box. I will also make sure I put one right here. It's the perfect opportunity to practice the pause and have some accountability and support from me as your coach and your other community members. This is new. Most people, like I said, aren't willing to do this, and I want to make sure you feel supported. If inserting a pause into your life sounds like exactly the thing that you need to create a life that you absolutely enjoy living,